Just like an artist stands before a blank canvas, unsure of where the first stroke will lead, we all begin our journey with uncertainty. That canvas, empty and untouched, holds endless possibilities. But it is only when the artist dares to press the brush to its surface, to risk mistakes and imperfections, that beauty begins to emerge. In the same way, our lives take shape through the moments of discomfort, pain, and uncertainty. Struggle is not something to be feared or hidden. It is the brush that paints the most powerful parts of our story. We often romanticize success, wrapping it in glittering lights, applause, and achievements. But what we rarely see are the restless nights, the doubts that whisper you can't, the tears that fall in silence, and the wounds that bleed behind closed doors. And yet, it is these very moments that define the depth of our success. Without the cracks, there is no way for the light to enter. Without the pressure, there is no diamond. Without the rain, the earth remains dry. It is in these metaphors that we find the truth of life. Struggle is not separate from success. It is its foundation. Imagine a mountain. From a distance, it looks majestic and still. But when you begin to climb, you feel every rough edge, every sharp turn, every breath stolen by thin air. You stumble, you fall, and yet with each step forward, your legs ache not from defeat but from progress. The higher you go, the more breathtaking the view becomes, but only because of how hard you fought to get there. Struggle gives perspective. It teaches us to appreciate the beauty of the journey, not just the destination. In my own life, I've often stood at the intersection of despair and hope. There were moments when it felt easier to give up than to go on. When you are faced with limitations, be they physical, emotional, or societal, it's tempting to shrink, to stay silent, to disappear. But it is exactly in those moments that struggle offers us a choice, to either surrender to our pain or to pick up the brush and start painting with it. Every failure, every rejection, every moment of loneliness became a color on my canvas, and slowly that canvas began to reflect not my brokenness, but my strength. The most beautiful art is not perfect. It's raw, it's messy. It carries emotion. It speaks to those who have felt deeply, who have loved and lost, who have broken and rebuilt themselves. That's what makes it powerful. Likewise, your success becomes meaningful not when everything goes smoothly, but when it is colored by the trials you overcame. There is no shame in the struggle. It is proof that you tried, that you cared, that you lived with courage. Many of us grew up fearing failure. We are taught that to fall is to be weak. But falling is not the opposite of rising. It is part of the same motion. Like waves that crash, only to rise again, we too are allowed to break. The struggle is what makes the comeback real, and the most inspiring people are not those who never fail, but those who failed and still found the strength to try again. Each struggle becomes a brushstroke of resilience, painting your story with shades no shortcut could ever create. Struggle also connects us. It humanizes success. When someone shares their battles, their setbacks, their scars, we see ourselves in them. We no longer view success as some far-off achievement reserved for the lucky few. We realize it's within our reach too. Because if they could walk through the fire and come out stronger, maybe we can too. Our stories of struggle become a light for others who are walking through their own darkness. There is something sacred about working for something. When you pour your heart into a dream, when you fight through obstacles that try to tear you down, that success becomes more than a trophy. It becomes a part of your soul. It humbles you. It grounds you. It reminds you never to take anything for granted. And it makes you grateful not just for the result, but for every hardship that shaped you along the way. We must also remember that struggle isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like showing up to a job you don't love just to keep your family afloat. Sometimes it looks like smiling through heartbreak or staying hopeful when everything feels heavy. These silent struggles are just as valid. They are the quiet brushstrokes that create the strength behind your smile, the courage in your eyes, and the fire in your soul. And when you begin to embrace struggle as part of your growth, not as a punishment, but as a teacher, you begin to live differently. You stop running from hard things. You stop seeing detours as delays. You realize that every closed door pushed you toward a better one. You stop wishing for easy paths and start seeking meaningful ones. Because it's not the smooth road that builds you, it's the rocky one that carves your character. We live in a world obsessed with speed. We want instant success, instant healing, instant gratification. But the truth is, nothing meaningful comes without patience, effort, and pain. The caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly overnight. It must go through the darkness of the cocoon. The flower doesn't bloom in a day. It must push through the soil, weather storms, and trust the sun. Likewise, we must go through our own seasons of struggle to bloom into who we are meant to be. So if you are in a place right now where everything feels hard, know that you are in the process of becoming. Your struggle is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're growing. Hold on, keep painting, even if the colors run, even if the lines blur. One day, you'll step back and see the masterpiece you've created, and you'll realize that every struggle was worth it. The world has a way of noticing your triumphs, but overlooking your trials. People see the results, the applause, the polished version of your story, but they rarely witness the chaos it took to get there. What they don't see are the quiet battles, the moments when you were broken but kept moving, the nights when you cried but chose to rise again the next day. Success, in its truest sense, isn't about avoiding pain. It's about how you transform that pain into purpose. You are not defined by what broke you, but by how you rose after the fall. Each of us at some point will encounter moments that shake the ground beneath our feet. It might be the loss of someone we love, a shattered dream, a betrayal, or a life-altering setback. In those moments, it feels like everything is slipping away. It's easy to believe that our worth is tied to our success, or that we are somehow less because we've been hurt or broken. But the truth is, being broken doesn't make you weak, it means you've lived. And rising from that place is the ultimate expression of strength. There's a Japanese art form called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. Instead of hiding the cracks, the artist highlights them, filling them with shimmering beauty. The idea is not to erase the damage, but to honor it. The object becomes more beautiful, not in spite of its breakage, but because of it. This philosophy is such a powerful metaphor for life. Your wounds, your scars, your failures, these are not stains on your story. They are golden lines that prove you've survived, healed, and continued on. Too often we measure ourselves by how flawless we appear. But the most impactful stories, the ones that touch hearts and change lives, are the ones rooted in authenticity. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's power. When you share how you broke and then got back up, you give others permission to do the same. You become a beacon of hope for those walking a similar path. Your strength doesn't lie in pretending everything is perfect. It lies in the courage to rise while still bleeding. I remember a time in my life when I was completely shattered, physically, emotionally, and mentally. There were moments when I felt invisible, like my voice didn't matter anymore. It was as if the world had moved on, and I was left behind in a body that no longer felt like mine, with dreams that seemed out of reach. But in that darkness, something unexpected happened. I began to find fragments of myself in the silence, and with each passing day, I collected those fragments, not to become who I once was, but to become someone new. We often try to go back to who we were before the pain, but perhaps healing is not about returning, it's about becoming. You may never be the same again, but that doesn't mean you'll be less. In fact, you might be stronger, wiser, more compassionate, more resilient. The version of you that rises from the ashes is not a weaker version. It's a rebirth. And sometimes, the version of you that comes after the fall is the one that was meant to be all along. When we talk about success, we must redefine it. Success is not just awards, titles, or milestones. It's waking up and choosing to try again when every part of you wants to give up. It's choosing kindness in a world that hasn't always been kind to you. It's forgiving those who hurt you, not for them, but for your own peace. It's choosing to believe in yourself even when others don't. These are quiet victories, invisible to the world, but they are the foundation of real success. One of the most powerful things you can do in life is to look back at your lowest moment and realize you rose. You didn't just survive, you grew. You learned. You transformed. That strength, that resilience, cannot be taught in any classroom or earned through any shortcut. It is something life carves into you through pain, through struggle, through perseverance, and once you carry it, no one can take it away from you. In a world that's constantly telling you to hide your weaknesses, I urge you to do the opposite. Wear your scars with pride. Speak your truth with courage, because there is someone out there who feels alone in their pain, and your story might be the hand that pulls them back to hope. You never know how your survival can become someone else's reason to believe. You are not what happened to you, you are what you chose to become after it. You may have faced defeat, but you are not defeated. You may have been broken, but you are not beyond repair. You may have been lost, but you are not without direction. Every time you fell, you planted the seeds of your comeback, and now those seeds are blossoming into something beautiful, something real, something unshakable. The human spirit is incredibly powerful. It bends, but it doesn't break. And even when it shatters, it finds a way to piece itself back together in a way that's even more intricate, more beautiful, more alive. This is who we are, creatures of resilience, born to rise again and again, no matter how many times life knocks us down. When you look in the mirror, don't just see the pain you endured. See the strength that carried you through it. See the courage that refused to let you quit. See the heart that stayed open even after it was broken. That is your success, not the applause, not the recognition, but the quiet, powerful decision to rise after everything tried to hold you down. And remember this, it's not the fall that defines you, it's the rise. We often look at struggle as something to escape, something that holds us back from living a fulfilling life or achieving our dreams. But what if struggle isn't meant to hold us back? What if, instead, it's meant to shape us, to awaken the strength that already lives within us? So many of us carry pain quietly. Grief, failure, rejection, fear. And we think that these things weaken us. But in reality, they are the fire through which our inner strength is forged. The truth is, your struggle is not your weakness, it is your superpower. It takes extraordinary courage to wake up every morning and face a life that hasn't gone the way you planned. It takes strength to smile when your heart is heavy, to keep moving forward when your path is uncertain, and to hope when you've been let down time and time again. These silent battles are the very moments where your superpower is born. Struggle strips you of your comfort, of what is easy, and invites you to meet yourself at a much deeper level. It pushes you beyond your limits and dares you to keep going anyway. You see, anyone can thrive when life is smooth. But true greatness, the kind that touches lives and leaves a legacy, is born in the storms. It's during those hard times that we begin to discover what we're really made of. Struggle brings out the parts of us we didn't know existed. The fighter, the survivor, the believer. It reveals not just who we are, but who we're capable of becoming. In that sense, every challenge is a mirror, reflecting back to us our truest, most resilient self. There's an unmatched depth that comes from going through something and coming out stronger on the other side. It changes how you see yourself and the world around you. Suddenly, you're not just chasing success for the sake of achievement. You begin to live with purpose, with empathy, with intention. Your struggle becomes your compass, guiding you toward what truly matters. It teaches you to lead with compassion because you've known pain. It teaches you to uplift others because you've been broken and needed lifting too. And that's the beauty of it. Your struggle doesn't just transform you, it allows you to transform others. When you choose to own your pain and speak your truth, you give permission to others to do the same. You become a light in someone's darkness, a voice for someone who hasn't yet found theirs. You begin to realize that your story, even the messy parts, especially the messy parts, have power. Not because they're perfect, but because they are real. Because they resonate. Because they heal. We often ask ourselves, why me? Why did I have to go through this? Why did I have to lose so much, hurt so deeply, fall so hard? But maybe the better question is, what now? Now that you've endured it, now that you've survived, what will you do with your pain? Will you bury it, hide it, pretend it never happened? Or will you turn it into something greater than yourself? Will you use it to build, to connect, to inspire? The most extraordinary people you'll ever meet are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who turned their adversity into wisdom, the ones who turned their pain into purpose. They didn't wait for life to be perfect to start living fully. They took what broke them and used it to build something beautiful. That's what makes their light shine so brightly. It's not untouched by struggle, it's been fueled by it. Think about the people you admire most. Chances are, their journey wasn't smooth. They weren't born fearless or unshaken. They became strong because they had to be. Their light didn't come from a lack of darkness. It came from finding a way to shine through it. Their strength came from showing up on the days they felt weakest, from continuing to believe when the odds were against them. And the same strength lives in you. You have to start seeing your struggle as part of your story, not the end of it. You are not stuck where you are. You are not defined by what hurt you. You are not limited by what went wrong. In fact, you are being prepared. Prepared to carry wisdom, prepared to lead, prepared to rise higher than you ever imagined. You are being carved into someone unshakable, someone unstoppable. It may hurt now, but it's building a resilience within you that nothing can take away. We are conditioned to view vulnerability as a weakness, especially when it comes to our personal struggles. But there's an incredible strength in vulnerability. When you own your scars and still stand tall, you show others that healing is possible. You show them that it's okay to feel, to break, to rebuild. That kind of courage is contagious. That's how movements begin. That's how lives change. Not by pretending to be perfect, but by choosing to be real. Let your pain speak. Not through bitterness, but through bravery. Let your wounds be a window through which others can see hope. You don't have to wait to be fully healed or to have everything figured out. Even in your brokenness, you can be a force of healing. Even in your confusion, you can bring clarity to someone else. You don't need to have all the answers to make an impact. Sometimes just your presence, just your story is enough. We live in a world that celebrates external achievements, but often overlooks the internal battles people fight every day. But the truth is, surviving the hard days, choosing kindness when life feels unfair, getting up when you've been knocked down, that is success. That is strength. That is your superpower. It may not always be visible, but it's real and it matters. So when life throws its hardest challenges your way, when it feels like everything is falling apart, remember this: your struggle is not in vain. It is shaping you, refining you, calling out your strength. Don't hide from it. Don't be ashamed of it. Step into it. Use it. Let it fuel your purpose. Because somewhere, someone is waiting for a voice like yours. And maybe, just maybe, your story of rising will be the reason they choose to rise too. So, embrace your struggle, not as a burden, but as a gift. Let it remind you of your strength, your resilience, and your capacity to rise no matter how many times you fall. Your pain has a purpose, and your journey has power. What you've endured can become someone else's reason to hope, to heal, and to keep going. You're not just surviving, you're transforming. And in that transformation lies your true superpower. So keep moving forward with courage, knowing that every step through the fire is shaping the extraordinary person you are becoming. You are stronger than you know. If you learned something new from this tutorial, don't forget to like and subscribe.